Hello, it's me, John. Look what I've got. So, the first print copies of FiveEvil. Let's take a look. I'm going to do a really quick spin through the book. This isn't a kind of in-depth walk through everything it contains, but we'll take a look just so you can see what FiveEvil is all about in print. So we've got our front and back cover there. We've got beautiful red end papers, very striking. Look, it's the flyleaf. Credits, introduction by Morg, contents of all our chapters there. I'm very happy with the print quality. I'm very happy with the paper quality and thickness is what you'd expect from us in all of our books. Chapter 1, Playing Horror. So we've got these lovely chapter opening sections in the chapters that benefit from it, that box out some of the important text in this attractive format across these great big spread images. You can see we're not going to... I'm trying desperately not to just start reading this stuff because we'll be here all day. So chapter 2, the core rules. So FiveEvil is a standalone book. It builds off the 5th edition rule set, but it twists it up so much and is so different in terms of things like character generation that it can stand alone. You don't need anything else to play, but it does use the baseline that you're familiar with of 5e, but then it does all kinds of wild things to it. Got some beautiful Scott Purdy art there. Layout is by Paul Bourne. I've done some artwork in there too. The early stuff, there's a lot of Scott in here, which is great. And we'll go quite quick through this. You can see just what a kind of rich presentation is. So instead of I said I wasn't going to start reading. I'm starting reading. Instead of combat rules, we have terror encounters, which is very different. All good stuff. Right, then, chapter 3, we go into a scenario which shows you how those core rules work in practice. It's a fairly straightforward piece, this one. We've played it. It's really good. Obviously, we've played it. This was the adventure our playtesters also ran, Wakefield House. There we go. Don't wanna. I gotta go fast so there's no spoilers. Don't look at the map. Right, chapter 4, creating characters. Again, slightly different to your standard 5e, but based on things that you will understand and recognise if you're a big 5e player. But you will also recognise how it's different and it will make you go, ooh. So there's the character sheet there. Things like habits, flaws, beliefs, relationship. You get a first description and a second description, and they operate a little bit like your proficiency bonus in standard 5e. Chapter 5, running the game. So FiveEvil was absolutely packed with advice on running horror games, how to make the most of it, how to do it at all. I think, we can underestimate sometimes as experienced players the challenges of running a horror game, and FiveEvil gives you loads and loads of stuff and things to consider on how to make the best horror scenarios and how best to run them. We got a lot of stuff about safety tools in there because that is important if you're running horror. Just so everyone has a good time, right? I mean, all of our time is precious, and you don't want to end up in a game that you are not well suited to. So safety tools just help with that, especially with horror. It doesn't mean you're not going to be creeped out and you're not going to have a sort of spine-tickling good time of playing a horror game. Anyway. Running terror encounters, running investigations. Yeah, improvising with doom checks. Doom checks are really, really cool in 5e to keep the game running, sort of being hard and tough and enabling the GM to run the horrors of the game in a sort of mean way, if you like, an uncompromising way. You can always default to doom checks, which is almost like a sort of 3D coin toss. It puts things in the hands of the dice, but it has more outcomes than yes or no. Well worth your time checking those out. Unseen events, horror stagecraft. let's keep going because I'm like reading the whole book here. Chapter 6, designing scenarios. Again, loads of advice on structuring scenarios. Something FiveEvil does really well is to give you a really solid structure that essentially every scenario in FiveEvil is a trap, and it's about getting out of the trap or perhaps not getting out of the trap depending on how it goes. Prepping characters, character loss. So I did a lot of this artwork, this kind of a 90s influenced, you know, Vertigo comics, sort of a lot of mixed media. Hit points 0. I like those. I like how it sits with Scott's perhaps more traditional illustrations. I think it hangs together really well. Anyway, lots of advice on running the game, settings, loads of stuff for designing lots of different settings for horror games. Something that really impressed me about FiveEvil when it was first pitched to me is how broad it is within the genre of horror. So we've got loads of suggested settings here with lots of different components that you can mix and match together to make unique settings for your trap scenarios. Isolated research station, touring band. What else have we got? Wilderness adventure. I'm writing one of those at the moment. Busy hospital. Boarding school. Grimy spaceship. If you've seen Gar Hanrahan's Theseus Protocol scenario, that runs on the grimy spaceship setup. Charming suburb. Stepford Wives stuff. Dead End Town. And again, loads of lists to draw on and gain inspiration from. Chapter 8, horrors. So the horrors chapter is all about your big baddies that are at the center of a FiveEvil scenario. Kind of don't want to go too. I need to go quick through these. So there's big categories with subcategories in each, and lots of mix and match stuff again that lets you build unique adversaries and enemies and sort of the masterminds behind the traps that your players are trying to escape. Also like sacrifice cults. There's all sorts of cool stuff in here. Good stuff. Chapter 9, campaign options. Because it is a game. It's not just for one-shots. It runs absolutely beautiful one-shots, but we've got loads of advice here, again, for running linked scenarios in a campaign. Duet style. This is an important thing. We haven't spoken much about duet style. So our other game, BEOWULF Age of Heroes, does duet play, 1 GM, 1 player for 5e. FiveEvil takes on a lot of that technology, and you can play FiveEvil with 1 player and 1 GM really effectively. It's very good. What else? We've got mystery toolkit, all that mysteries and investigations. Very good stuff in there. What else we got? Oh yeah, an example mystery. Something more the writer designer of FiveEvil does really well is he gives you the stuff and then he gives you examples of how it works in play, which I think is so useful. Then we come back to revisiting Wakefield House. So you've learned all of this stuff, and now we can kind of add extra things to that introductory scenario. So you can kind of learn the game, play the game, read more, come back, jazz it up even further with a lot of extra options. Chapter 10, right, we're into scenarios now. So last fun weekend, I played this one, it freaked me right out. I was a playtester in this game, and I thought in my infinite wisdom I would secretly try and kind of break it a bit. What happened if my character just didn't really play along with the tropes of horror and just tried to escape constantly? I'm just leaving. I'm not gonna, I'm not going into the dark cellar or what have you. And that was the scenario. That was exactly what I was supposed to be doing, unbeknownst to me, and it worked really well, and I was really impressed. It was a scary adventure. Everyone got something going on is this next adventure. This is really weird and creepy. As Morg has said in various interviews, he's still a bit unsure about this one. It's really weird. It's kind of nihilistic. I don't know, is it a bit David Lynch? I don't know. It's a very disturbing scenario, this one, actually. I don't want to, again, I've got to go quite quick to get through these things without lingering on spoilers. Chapter 12, Out of the Circle. So this is all about leaving a cult and what happens. Can't say too much about that. Chapter 13, Big Screaming Demons. This is a great scenario. This is where you play members of a band getting back together for one last gig, for which you are paid loads and loads of money, but all is not as it seems. This is great fun. It's like played on 11 as it should be. Look at all those NPCs there. Wow. Again, I don't want to do too, you know, you're going to get spoilers if you leaf through this, so we'll go quite quick. Demons everywhere, demon mutants, right? And then we're into couch sheets, your scenario worksheet, and a nice big index at the back, and we're back to our end papers. So, hey, there we go. That's FiveEvil, a lightning run through FiveEvil from Handiwork Games. You can pre-order it on our website. We are going to start shipping these as soon as we have closed down collecting backer addresses, which will happen in the next couple of days, and that will be on general release very soon. Awesome.